Welcome to this video on interaction and forms in Flutter. After watching this video, you'll be able to identify ways Flutter enables interactions, explain gesture detector widgets, describe how to create an interactive form. In Flutter, interaction and form handling are fundamental aspects that enable developers to create dynamic and responsive applications. Interaction in Flutter is handled through widgets, which are the building blocks of a Flutter app. These widgets manage everything from layout and styling to user input and gesture recognition. Let's start by exploring how to handle user interactions with buttons in Flutter. Buttons are the most basic way users interact with an app. In Flutter, you can create various types of buttons, such as text button, elevated button, and outlined button. The most important aspect of a button is how it responds to user taps. When a button is tapped, it triggers an on-pressed event. This is where you define what should happen when the user interacts with the button. For example, you might want to navigate to a new screen, display a message, or update some data. Handling this event is straightforward. You define the button to choose the type of button you need based on the design and functionality. You set the on-pressed callback to provide a function that can be executed when the button is pressed. This simple mechanism allows you to define clear, concise responses to user interactions. Text input is another common form of user interaction. In Flutter, this is handled using the text field widget. A text field allows users to input text, which can be used for forms, search functions, or any other feature requiring textual data. Let's explore an example of how to work with text input. First, create a text field, which is the basic widget for text input. Second, use a text editing controller to manage and retrieve text from the text field. Note that the controller is particularly important as it provides methods to clear the field, retrieve the current value, or modify the text programmatically. Third, use the input decoration property to customize the appearance of your text field. Forms are another essential tool for collecting information from users. In Flutter, forms are made up of multiple text field widgets combined within a form widget. Form validation ensures that the data users enter meets certain criteria before it's processed. You can handle form validation using the following steps. First, wrap text field widgets in a form. Use the form widget to group multiple input fields. Next, use validators. Each text field can have a validator function that checks the input's validity. Validators are functions that return an error message string if the input is invalid or return a null message if it is valid. Then, use a global key form state to manage this form state. The form's state can be accessed and manipulated using the global key, allowing you to check if all fields are valid before proceeding. You can also manage interactions and forms with gestures. These are how users interact with your application beyond simple button presses and text input. Flutter provides a variety of gesture detectors to handle complex interactions like swipes, taps, long presses, and more. Some common detectors are gesture detector, inkwell, and dismissible. These detectors provide callbacks for different types of gestures. For example, you can handle a tap by placing the widget you want to detect gestures inside a gesture detector widget. Then you define the callback function by providing functions for the gestures you want to handle, such as on tap and on double tap. Let's explore an example of creating an interactive login form in Flutter. First, you'll design your layout. To do this, you might use widgets such as column, row, and containers to lay out your form elements. For example, to create a login form, you would use a column to stack widgets vertically. Second, you integrate the buttons with appropriate actions. For the login form, you add two text field widgets with controllers. Third, you use text field widgets with controllers to handle text input. For a login button, you would add an on-pressed callback that validates the form. The fourth step is validating input by implementing validators within a form widget. These validate that the app's users have not left any fields empty. Finally, you'll enhance interaction by adding gesture detectors where needed, such as adding advanced interaction like a password hint on a long press. By understanding and utilizing these concepts, you can build dynamic and responsive applications in Flutter that offer a seamless user experience. In this video, you learned that developers handle user interactions by creating buttons in Flutter such as text button, elevated button, and outline button. A common user interaction is enabled using the text field widget, which is the basic widget for creating text input. In Flutter, forms are made up of multiple text field widgets combined within a form widget. Gesture detector widgets handle complex interactions such as swipes, taps, and long presses.